Hey everyone, welcome back. My name is Lynn and welcome to my home. What are we going to chat about tonight? We're going to talk about decluttering, too much stuff, not enough stuff. How much do you have? When is enough enough? These are questions that I guess I've struggled with for a while. And before we get into that, I did want to let you know, if you have been, some of you have been following, my sisters and I have a Facebook group shop, so to speak, and we do a lot of homemade, handmade crafts and sewing projects and crocheting and earrings and jewelry. And I did a line of natural things. Anyway, we have a shop and it's called the Dogwood Tree Shop. And you can find us on Facebook as a group if you want to go check it out. But we're having an online yard sale. So the three sisters are selling anything and everything. I've got some clothing on there. I'm having some crafts on there. I don't know what's on there. So, we're all trying to declutter our homes a little bit. We're selling some stuff. If you're interested, go check it out. I'll leave the information in the description below as well. So I have been working on decluttering, and I had to take some time and kind of process it. And yes, I'm in a hoodie. I'm cold. It's cold here today in Jersey. It's 40 something. I got a long sleeve shirt on. I got a hoodie on, and I just can't warm up. So if I look big and bulky, that's why. But, decluttering has been a thing I've been doing for a while. And I had to kind of stop and assess myself as to, I love thrift shopping. I love yard selling. Yard selling to a point, but thrift shopping most definitely. I love to go. I enjoy a good thrift shop run. We'll go hit several of them. When we go on vacation, we hit thrift shops. My husband enjoys it just as much as I do. I go away with a few girls a couple times a year, and it's just a thing that we do. We enjoy it. And, the thing is, well, you bring stuff in your house, then you got more stuff. What kind of things do you buy? I have people say to me all the time, well, what do you buy? And I don't know, I make a list. And that is part of the fun of when we go shopping with the girls. We'll all compare notes on the way out. Okay, what are you looking for? Most of the things in my home are thrifted, gifted, or free. And, gifts on the side of the road type of a thing. And the other day, we started to declutter our bedroom closet. And yes, these are some of the bags from my clothes and shoes. So let me take you back on a little bit of a journey of when I started to declutter and what has happened in my life and why I am at the point that I'm at. Well, when we first got married, we had no money. When I say no money, we had no money. If we had $1, it was like $1 million. We lived paycheck to paycheck. We didn't know how to budget properly. We had tons of medical bills because of my husband and his seizures, and we did not have health insurance for a long time. And things got out of control, let's just say. It's life. Things happen. And I think we spent the first 20 years of our life, we never bought each other Christmas presents. We never bought each other birthday presents. We didn't buy anything we didn't have to have because we had no money. And any little bit of money we had, we wanted to make sure that our son, our oldest son at the time, he was an only child at that point, had everything he could need, want, or desire. And we never wanted him to feel poor. So we created this terminology called being a smart shopper. So we never made him say we were poor, and that's why we went to thrift stores and yard sales and gifts on the side of the road. But that's what we did. I remember my husband and I were just talking. Those back in the day, the horses that, the kids would ride and they'd squeak back and forth, those little horses that you put in your living room. My husband found one on the side of the road, brought it home, washed it, cleaned it, painted it, fixed it up. And that was one of the only gifts that my son, probably was 2 years old at the time, got for Christmas. Well, he rode that horse and it squeaked and it squeaked. I don't know, till he was just too big for it. And he loved it, and we saved it. And then when we adopted our youngest son, he got to ride that horse and enjoy it just as much. there were plenty of things that were gifts on the side of the road, or people were just getting rid of stuff, and we would ask, you doing anything with it? Could we have it? And we would fix it. We would paint it. We would, I don't know what all we did to make our house a home the best we could. That was probably the first 20 years that we were married. And then I'd say the next 5 years, we had a little breathing space. The next 10 years, we had a little breathing space. So we went and made up for lost time. And for Christmas and birthdays, we made sure that we outdid ourselves from the year before and made sure we blessed each other very well. And financially, we were a little bit better. We had the money to spend. Our kids were older. We enjoyed the time doing all this. And there was nothing wrong with it. But I think when you have nothing and then you're able to get something, we filled our life with a lot of things. Now, did we do anything wrong or obsessive? I wouldn't say so. My husband and I tend to like things anyway. We had collectible things. There were things along the way that we collected. I know collecting is not a thing that a lot of people do anymore, but we were collectors. We enjoyed, I love vintage antiques, authentic. So I collected old phones for a while, and I collected tin cans, and I don't know, we collected things. And I'd go through that phase and I'd get rid of that and I'd get another collection. And I found myself in doing that. We were thrifting again. We always did things frugally and on a budget. It wasn't like we went and blew all this money at, an expensive store and bought all brand new things and all of that. And then when you have children, they have their own collections. So they were collecting things. And the house was filling up rather quickly. From the time we've moved in this house to the time now where we presently are, the house is quite full. Some of it, and I look around like where I am right now in my living room, I have a couch, I have 2 chairs. We use them, we need them. A couple of end tables, things like that, maybe a lamp or 2. We use them and we need them. But in the last 5 years, I think we've gotten to a point that 2 of our kids are grown and out of the house. Our youngest is older and doesn't have the toys and things like that anymore. So we've been starting with cleaning those things out. Well, then just going through it, realizing, well, we don't need as many towels in the bathroom because 2 people are not in the home anymore. So we need less of those. And some of the dishes that I had, we entertain differently. My dad's no longer here. Our 2 oldest kids are not here. We're not entertaining like we used to. And I had dishes, more of something like that I needed. Just going through those things. So we have been decluttering. And I think we went through first what we had too much of that we no longer need. But I think part of, decluttering, if you're a person that enjoys things, you struggle sometimes with, there's an emotional attachment to things. That chair was the chair that my dad would sit in. I'm using that as an example. And so do I want to get rid of that chair because my dad used to sit in that chair? Well, my dad's not here anymore. He's not going to sit in that chair. And maybe the chair is falling apart, so I need to let that chair go. Those are the things that we have been gradually growing in the last 5 years on saying, you know what? Don't need it. You know what? Don't even like it. It's taking up room. There were a few things that I got rid of in the last week. And I walked around the house, and I actually brought one thing to work. I absolutely loved it. Bought it at a thrift shop for $5. Loved it. Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Had no place in my house for it. I bought it with a purpose in mind, but it didn't fit. It just didn't work. So then I put it here and there and everywhere, and it was always in the way. And it was that I'm hitting that moment, that wall of I'm done. That's it. We're doing it. And you can see here, I have several bags of clothing that I put together. I think it ended up being 6 or 8 bags of clothes that I took to Goodwill. Clothes that I've kept because now for me, I have grown and done many things in my career. I needed 3-piece business suits for a while. I needed pumped heels. I wore dresses for a while. I hate dresses. I no longer wear dresses. I I wore, different styles of clothes for different events that I was involved in, and many different things. And I've hung on to those things because, well, would I ever get back into that? Or I don't know. And you know how that goes. And I had to let go of all that stuff that I know I will never wear again. And honestly, if I have an occasion where I need something, I probably have something in my closet that I can make do because it's a one-day thing versus hanging on to a bunch of clothes just in case that might come up, and which would I wear anyway. So we got rid of the clothes, we got rid of the shoes. I went through my jewelry, I went through my scarves. Yes, I'm selling some of this stuff on the online yard sale, and some of it I've passed on to friends, and the rest I'm donating to the thrift shops. And we have said enough is enough. My husband's going through different wires and books and, gadgets and tools. And boy, it takes time because you have to go through each item and decide what will I use, what won't I use. But, when you look back, if you're struggling like we had done on decluttering and how do I do it and where do I start, it's a process. I will say this is not for the person. I know people that have no emotional attachment to things whatsoever. Couldn't care less. Look at that. Yep, get rid of it. Put that in the garbage. Don't need that. Don't need this. Get rid of it. I'm like, oh, I'm just not that type of person. A lot of things we have and we laugh because our basement was full of things. We had a lot of people, pass on in the family over time, and we inherited a dining room table and chairs, and we inherited things versus money. And so we had a lot of extra things that we got because they were given to us. And what do you do with it? You stick it in a closet, in the basement, over here, over there. And I had a friend move to Florida, and she gave me her entire craft room. She said, you'll know people who can use it. I had another woman who, long story short, she willed her craft room to me. I had another friend who moved out of state and gave me things. So we have been given these things. And yes, I seem to be the hub for a resource to share with other people, which I don't mind doing that. But in all that, my weakness can be crafts. And I was like, oh, maybe I can use that. Maybe I can use that. And I've just realized that I'm not going to. I'm just not. I'm not into crafts that I was into 20, 30 years ago. I love junk journaling. I love making cards. And that's about it. That's my two go-to things. And if I want something else, I can pick up the few things I need to make a wreath or make something. But I'm not doing what I used to do. I used to teach a lot of crafts. I used to host a lot of events, craft nights in my home. I'm not doing that anymore. Will I do it again? I probably will. But I'll do it on a simpler scale. I'll do it differently. And I'm not hanging on to these things for that day that might come. Now, if I have a specific need, a specific event, and I need certain items to host an event, those things I will hang on to. But if it's something I'm hanging on to for a future what if type of a moment, I'm not doing that anymore. And I wanted to encourage you and get on here that if you are struggling with decluttering and you're struggling with how do I start, I have no strong recommendations for you on where to start other than pick one spot or in the corner of your room, or pick one drawer, or pick one item. For me, it works better. Like my husband, I think it works better for him to pick a drawer and to clean out the drawer and then the next drawer and then the things around it. For me, I do better with saying I'm going to clean out my jewelry. And I go through all my jewelry. I do better with topics. I'm going to clean out all my shirts. I'm going to clean out all my pants. I'm going to clean out all my scarves. Does that make sense? And I do better with that. And then little did I know that by doing, this, and this, my closet would be cleaned out. So we not only cleaned out our bedroom closet, but we took everything out, vacuumed, wiped the shelves, did the thing, organized the clothes by color. And I even went through and I said to my husband, okay, one thing I do need, I love clothes. I do love clothes. And one thing I do need is a brown shirt. I have a lot of brown jackets that I could wear to work, but I don't have a brown shirt to go under it. And so we went thrifting yesterday and looking for items, and I could not find a brown shirt. I guess brown is not a popular color. I do tend to like brown. So I'm on the hunt for one or two, like a brown, dark brown, and maybe a tan shirt to round out some things in my wardrobe. But outside of that, I'm doing pretty good. I went through my kitchen, and I think that was the wow moment, is I finally got rid of stuff that I hung on to. Well, what if we did, or what if we go, or what if that event? And I had to say, Lynn, it's not going to happen. It's not happening. And if it does, you'll make do. You'll find a way to make it work. So I went in, even though I decluttered last year and I decluttered the year before, there were those things I still hung on to. And this time I got rid of them. I made a decision to get rid of them. I actually have empty cabinet space in little nooks and crannies in my kitchen. And it was the most freeing feeling to know that everything not only had a home, but I had a little bit of wiggle room around it. So if you saw my pantry video last night, do I have too much food? That is one of the reasons I'm starting to go through my pantry as well. How much do I really need? Now, I'm not saying I'm getting rid of food. I'm not saying I'm going to, whoosh this out of here, whoosh that out of there. But I'm trying to set a pattern for myself of how many outfits do you wear in a week? How many things do you wear in a season? How many shoes did you really go through? As a season ends, if it's summer, and how many pairs of sandals did you really wear? I wore these 2 all the time, and the other 5 I never wore. I'm going to get rid of them. And I finally feel like I've gotten to a point in my life where I can comfortably do that. And when I do go thrifting, which we enjoy doing, be much more selective with what I want and what I need. And I think it's a good place. I think it's a good place to be. So I just wanted to get on there and share that with you. And how are you guys doing? It's the beginning of the year. It's a fresh start. I think that's one of the things that I'm feeling this year is I want to be home more. I want to just thin out, organize. And I mentioned it last night. My sister said it the best way. We are not minimalist, but we like things simple. And simple, you know what? You define simple. What is simple in your life? Simple to me is everything having a home, and just when I look around, I feel like it's simplified. Now, you might come in my home and go, oh, my word, you have so much. And I might go in your home and say, oh, my word, you have so little. Things in my home, to me, make it a home. I like decorations. I like decor. I like seasonal items. That's not going to change. That, to me, makes it a house, from a house to a home. My kids like when I decorate like that. My husband loves it when I decorate like that. And I like to come home to that. But that doesn't mean that as I look around and I think, you know what, I'm really tired of that picture, or I'm tired of that knickknack. Now I can just say, it's okay to get rid of it. It's okay. Let it go. You can replace it with something else down the road. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know how you feel about decluttering. Do you struggle with it? Have you found complete freedom in doing it? Everybody's at a different point in life. I think we're all attached to different things at different times of our lives. My kids have grown and they're moving out, and all of a sudden I'm feeling that nostalgic of, I miss having the family here. So I think some of the things I was hanging on to was sort of filling that gap. And I'm moving past that now, and I'm learning to embrace the new season of life that I'm in, and what I do need, don't need, what do I want, what don't I want. And there we go. That's all I have for you tonight. Hope you enjoyed this video. We'll catch you all on the next one.